So I don't know what happened, guys. I was in the middle of showing you this needle book and I looked up to see if anyone had commented and the video had ended. I'm so frustrated with this today. This is about the 5th or 6th time that's happened. I'm so frustrated. So I want to, I started showing, I don't know how much of it was seen. I just can't, I'm just so bloody frustrated with this at the moment. So I'm trying to show you, just bear with me for a minute. I wanted to try and show you this, and I have shown this before. I have done a little bit of work in it since I last showed you, not much. I just want to get this one finished. I think I'll keep this one. It's a chunky monkey. It's going to be a chunky monkey. This was a kit that I got from Beckett Sobe. So let's have another look. I don't know how much was in the last video, how much you saw. Got this. This is vintage silk, vintage Japanese kimono silk. I've got to remember there's a little hole down here. Can you see that hole in the silk? That was what it was like when I received it. It sort of looked like it had been cut. So I've got to remember to put something there or stitch it up to hold it together. I keep forgetting that's there. I've got to do something about that. But I've done, as you can see, I've canter stitched all this, and I've done it, even though that silk is already textured, I've tried to make the stitches textured too as well. So I've got them sitting on top of the fabric. Obviously I've appliqued this gorgeous little flower on there. That came in the kit as well, the flower. And I've done a bit of funny edging around here because I wanted to keep the vintage silk that came. So it looks like this is I know this is part of a vintage kimono, okay? And it was lined with silk. So it looks like the pieces have just been cut, lining and all, okay? Which is okay. But I'm trying to explain, when it arrived, I deconstructed it. So I'd unpicked the lining from this piece. And then I've sewn it back together because the lining piece had another piece of silk stitched on, and I have squared it all off and I've put it back in. It all had to be tidied up, it didn't fit. This piece selvage, this is a selvage edge. This was hidden in a seam. So I've now exposed it as a feature, and I've grabbed a piece of this beautiful vintage silk and just done a little, I can't remember what it's called. I didn't have a fine piping to put in it, so it's just a piece of fabric for a contrast to make a bit of a feature out of that. So yeah, that's just the reconstructed vintage kimono that I've done for the cover, okay? Then I've had this piece of vintage doily. It was a large, like wasn't as big as a supper cloth. It wasn't even complete when I got it, I don't think. I think it had already been cut, but I've had it for okay. So now it's recording again. I don't know how much of that you saw or if it just completely cut out. This is mental. I'm so frustrated. Okay, we're recording again. We're live again. Hopefully we can continue without any more fuss. Because I'm ready to scream or something. So getting back to this needle book, I'm assuming, because it tells me there's 4 minutes up here, I'm assuming you've already seen me talk about the cover. We got to this piece of reclaimed doily, okay? So, as you can see, I've kept the original crochet edge on this doily, but the rest of this has been cut out. Now this was, how many times have I spoken about this today? I feel like I'm, take a deep breath. So I had originally had this like this, but when I closed the book, I mean all that bit's not going to be hanging out like that, I hope. When I closed the book, I didn't like these bits, and I don't know what I'm going to do about this bit. I didn't like these bits hanging out here. That looked untidy to me. So I'm thinking, I've lined the other side of this with a piece of linen damask. I probably should have put something behind there to contrast that cut work there, that thread work. And as you can see, I've embroidered a piece of Sue Spargo wool, and that's kumquat, that colour I believe. I've just noticed out here, I don't know how the hell they've gotten in there, because this is kept in a large plastic bag, and I don't work with it when Willow's around, but I can see her hair, her glitter in this bloody wool. Need a pair of tweezers or something. Look at it. Every time I move on a different angle, I see another bloody hair. How do they get in here? How do I get so many dog hairs in this wool when I keep it right away from her and it's kept in a bag? How does that happen? Maybe I need to be just resigned that everything's going to have Willow hair in it. But what stresses me, if I send things to people, I don't want them getting things with bloody dog hair in it. And I don't know how to avoid that, to be honest. There's another one, look. How is this happening? I wonder if it's coming off my clothing. There's another little one. I wonder if that's what's happening. Can't see any more in there now. You know there's going to be more in there, don't you? There's one little white one. You know, one day, the day will come when I'll be saying, I wish I still had Willow's hair in there. But for now, I don't want it there. So what I was getting at is, I didn't like this bit hanging out. It didn't look good to me. And I'm still not 100% convinced this whole bit's going to stay in this book. I'm not sure I like it. But I'm starting to think I might... Are you getting too hot, baby girl? You've been lying in the sun for over 2 hours, darling, so I'm not surprised. Yeah. Your head's not hot. Was that bit hidden? Do you want to go inside, darling? I'll have to... Can you give me a minute? I'll have to move this. Okay, hang on. Let me stand up. Gotta move my chair, my stool. Oh, my knees. Okay. Let me take your collar off. Your lead off, I mean. You're naked now. You don't even have your tiara on. We call her collar her tiara. She had a shower last night and I washed her collar as well, so she's completely naked now. Here you go, sweetie. Can you step over the cord? Good girl. Good job, Buggy. So she's obviously gotten too hot out there. She's probably going to go and have a drink. She's just been sound asleep on the lawn in the sun. Right, back to this. Yeah, so I'm thinking, and this piece here is off the same doily and I've just applicated on to there as well. But I'm thinking I will stitch this down there so it's not hanging out, because I'm just not happy with it as it is. I want to pull that around a little bit further so it's not bumpy and chunky. Right. Then I've got this doily in here at the moment. Again, I'm not convinced it's going to stay. I don't know what I think about it. I love the doily on its own, but I don't know if it works in here. So that'll be another page at the moment. Then I was thinking, now, originally, if I put this in here, I want something that's high contrast here to pop that doily. So potentially, should this be next? That's what I was originally doing, I think. Have that next. So we've got some contrast behind that doily. Don't mind that. That might be next, the next page, which is the Sue Spargo wool again in kumquat, I think that colour is. And again, that came in the kit from Beck with the silk. I can see dog hair again. Right, so there will be blanket stitch around here, probably in an ecru cotton, because on this side I've got another piece of vintage silk that came in the kit. There's a self-patterned image in there, I can't see what it is. So I'm going to stitch this. I need to base that to hold it in place so I can stitch it. Then, what will I do next? At the moment, I've got, do I want that there? I need something else there, I think, something plainer. So at the moment I've got this in. And I haven't stitched that on yet. I need to stitch that onto the back of this doily. So this opens. It's a lot, isn't it? But this doily just works so well in this, I thought it should go in as well. Then I've got, maybe I need something more high contrast there. I'm actually thinking, I had this silk, I had this in here as a page. I don't know if this is then, it came in the kit. And I was going to line it with this silk. I know it doesn't fit, but I was going to do an extension and do it that way. But then today I've thought I might turn this into a little zippered pouch and put it in here. Should I have it that way? Maybe that way, because then we've got flowers and flowers. So that might get turned into a little zippered pouch, I think, and inserted in about there. I don't mind that there. Then I've got a piece of this. This problem with this fabric, I feel like I want to line it with something. And I've done it backwards because I want the pocket to stay. That's not the center. I want the pocket to be there. And then, that's not very, very practical, is it, if I've got a zippered pouch there and a pocket next to each other? But anyway, so that should open, and then I want to put, probably, and this is full of bloody Willow's hair too, piece of doctor's flannel, another bit of wool, and then I think I'll put, now this needs to be lined, but I want to put this doily in. I think I want that as the centre. There's a bit of willow slobber there I need to wash off. I've got more fabrics that came in the kit, but I don't know if I want to put any more in because it's a big chunky monkey. I think I want that as my centre piece. This piece here, I want to line this. I don't like leaving that exposed. And I'm starting to think maybe I can put a pocket in here as well. This is the bit I've cut off. I was going to integrate this into it somehow. Potentially I could sort of stitch that on somehow. I'll need to go back and watch this video again and remember what I'm talking about here, because so far I'm quite happy with this so far. So I've still got these pieces left from the kit, and there's other pieces of fabric that I've put, I think they might be in that box, from the kit as well. But at the moment, I'm quite happy with that. I need to find another piece of lining fabric, and that might be that needle book. That's getting somewhere. That's progress. So let's put her away in there for now. hopefully I might be able to get to work on that tonight after I've done some done the kits, the fabrics and that. This is for, that's for that one over there. So I think this was on the other video that dropped out. This was a kit that I bought from Beck at So Be. Now this piece of fabric, this came with piece of fabric, the lining fabric, an instruction card and a zipper. I think that's what was in it. Might have had a, no, I think that was it. I've decided to do it differently. Surprise, surprise. I'm not going to fold this in half for my pouch. I'm going to use this entire piece as one side of the pouch. I've lost my lining piece. I don't know what I've done with it, but that's okay because it wouldn't have been big enough anyway, I don't think. Oh yeah, it probably was. So what I'm going to do, I think, is use this as the other side of the pouch, as the lining, as the back, other side, not the bloody. And then I haven't come up with a lining fabric yet. As you can see, I've decided to hand quilt this panel. I originally started quilting it with these. I just wanted a light, just a hint of colour, but I didn't like the look of it. I didn't like, and I couldn't see it. I couldn't see to do the stitching. So I ended up unpicking all that, and I'm going with stranded thread instead. And I'm doing 2 threads this time, so it's a little bit more seam. And I'm not going to do every 1/4 inch. I'm going to do every 1/2 inch because it's just too much. It just doesn't look good, and I think I'm going to lose that print if I do it every 1/4 inch. I've currently got a knot in it, so that's why I'm not sitting here stitching. And I've started to put a piece of Liberty on the end of this. I'll put another bit here. Whether I do the same colour or a different colour, I don't know yet. I haven't decided. But this zip came in the kit, and it's big enough that I can easily, I'm going to do the pouch this size, okay? So that's where I'm going with that. That came in the kit I bought from Beck at So Be. I've got so many others on the go here. I'm not going to show you the big cutter quilt one now because I showed it in an earlier video and I've shown it several times previously. So let's go to a different one. These are all ones that I'm currently working on. And I need to just finish some. This one is on pause because I'm not happy with what I've done so far. I don't know if I will continue. So some of this is another part of another kit from Beck. So a kit, the green kit arrived. I don't even know where it came from. And when I saw Beck, I said to her, I actually think there's enough in there to do 2 needle books. So I've split it into 2. This is the other bits that came in the same kit, okay? So I'll show you what I've done. I've added this, I've added that, I've added these, I've added that, I've added that, I've added that, I've added those, I've added that, I think I've added that, I don't think that came in the kit, I've added that. So far, okay. Now, this is some of the silk that came in the kit, and I'm not happy with this. I started stitching the design, the pattern design, but I don't like how it looks. I think it's too chunky, and I think I've used a grey variegated thread. I think I need to go to either a dark grey or a black, and possibly a single strand instead of 2. It looks like I've used 2. I don't like it. It's too chunky. I'm losing the print. It's just not working for me. But on the back, so I've done this so it will go this way. Actually, I've done it so it will look like this. So that will be the front, and I need to unpick that. I don't like that at all and the back will look like this, and I'm going to quilt the back. I've started quilting in that same variegated grey. Okay, so that's the start of that one. Then I've got, this is the lining silk that was in it, so I'm going to put that in as the lining, I think, if it'll fit. Okay, this came in the kit as well. So there's our lining fabric. Then I've got, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Don't know if I'm going to put this doily in it. It works, I think. I've pulled that one to put in it anyway. I've got a piece of vintage green wool, which I think came in the kit. I'm pretty sure it came in the kit. It's got willow glitter on it. I've pulled this from my stash. I thought it might work in it. This came in the kit. I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's linen. It's a lovely fabric, but I don't know what it is. So I want to put that in. I've pulled this to potentially put in it. And I've pulled this one to put in it as well. So again, undecided on how I'm going to put this together. I've also got, this came in the kit. And then I've added some thread, other threads. This little pouch, I don't know if it will be put in yet or not. This was I think this is an egg cozy, a vintage egg cozy, but I thought it could make a nice little pocket or a little pouch in the seam somewhere. I've got these that I've rescued. I don't know how I will use them yet. I had 3 of those. Here we go. There we go. I thought this would be a little, that might work in it on one of those pages. I've got this one. This might work in it. I quite like that. I need to stitch this together a bit. And I've pulled this from my collection. These came from Beck some time ago, so they might go in. And I've also pulled this from my collection. It's a 14-inch zipper. So maybe I was going to use this green linen to make a pouch. Decided I wanted to put a pouch in there. So there's that one. And as you can see, I haven't progressed very far on it because I don't like what I've done for the cover so far. I need to rethink that one. It seemed like a really good idea at the time. I thought I'm going to stitch all that print, but I'm not happy with how it looks. I don't know whether to keep pushing through and see if it looks better or just undo it all and start again. I think I like the idea of stitching it still, but I don't like the colour and I don't like how chunky it is. It just takes away from the silk, I think. Now these are other bits that were in that same kit. Okay, where are we? Obviously I've pulled 2 zippers from my stash because I don't know which colour to use. This little one came in the kit, and then I've pulled this one. She's a bit sad, she needs some fixing done. I've pulled these from my stash, they seem to work with it. This came in the kit. Now remember, whatever I'm saying, this came in the kit, they all came with the green bits. They were all one kit, but I decided that it might be good to make 2 from it. This is from my collection. This is one my daughter sent me recently. It's very delicate, but I thought it would work in this needle book. That was a design I've drawn that I might do in wool. I don't know, I think I'll change the design in this because that's another cherry blossom. I did a cherry blossom in the other pink one. So I might do a completely different stitcher in this one, but that was one left over that I was trying to fit into the other kimono. This is some bits I've just pulled from my stash. This piece of Seuss Bugger would have come in the kit. These bits of Liberty came from a scrap pack I bought from Beck last September. This came in the kit, and this is from my stash. This came in the kit. This bit of linen. This is from my stash. I thought it worked well with this. Look at that. I think it works really well, actually. This came in the kit, and I've actually got more of this that's almost an exact match from my stash. This is from my stash. I thought it worked with it. Whether I'm going to use all this, I don't know. I don't know yet, but it works. And this is what I thought I'd use to make a pouch for this. I don't think I'll use the front and the back. That was my first thought, but now I'm thinking I'll use half of it and put something else on the other side. So potentially this is going to be a zippered pouch in this book. This is the silk that was lining the other coloured silk. So as you can see, I've split this into 2 needle books. I haven't quilted that yet. So that will be the front, I think. I think I've set that up for the front. Don't know whether I'll put one of those flowers on it yet. I don't know. Where are they gone? Oh, all the way over there. So potentially that could go on there. It works, but I don't know yet. Or I could do... Don't think that one works as well. So okay, this will be the front. We open her up to the liner. That won't be next because that's going to be turned into a zippered pouch. And I think probably looking at this, the green is going to work the best. This is too cool. It's not the right colour. So yeah, no idea what I'm going to put next. Maybe even just that. Need to pull that out for a while. Bit of silk, bit of linen. I wonder if I've got more linen in my stash. So that could be a page. Then we could do maybe some wool. Then we could go, this is just thinking out loud, I suppose. Then we could do so that'll need a lining. And then I can attach something to the other side of that, another bit of fabric. So I need to pull more stuff to do this one. And then I could stick in I'm going to have a fabric on the back of that. Then we could put in our zippered pouch. And then we could have more stuff happening, which I don't know what. No idea how to do this yet. But there's the idea for that one. I know I've walked through this with you guys before, but I think nutting through it with you on here like this, I have more ideas while I'm showing you on how I can put this together. See, I've just had some ideas with this one, which I've been really busting my neck to come up with some ideas for. And that's just given me quite a bit, actually. So there's that one. Oh, and we wanted to use that in there, didn't we? I just want to go and do some stitching, but I've got to do all these parcels. I've got this ribbon. I didn't realise, I ordered this online, and I didn't realise it had shimmer in it. I thought it looked like a reproduction vintage ribbon. And I was thinking I would use it to hold this book together, but it's not cotton like I was hoping, and it's got this shimmer in it that I'm just not sure it actually works. The colours are okay, but I wasn't expecting the pop of the shimmer. I do love glitter. But yeah, let's have a look. So I think that's too busy. It needs to be something plain on there, and it's a bit too pink. Oh, then again, in the sunlight, it's not a bad colour match. But anyway, that's not what I thought it was. So I think I need a plain. If I'm going to put a tie on it, it needs to be something plain. Right, there's that one. That's given me some more ideas on how to get that happening. We've done that one. Where am I up to? We've done that one. We've looked at that one. That's the other kumquat coloured silk that I've been calling peachy. We've walked through that one. We've talked through what I'm going to do with that. Okay, what about... we've talked through that one and we've talked through that one. Okay, I love this one. I just want to get to work on all these. I just want to work on these all day, every day at the moment. But clearly, I haven't done any for a while. This is one I've pulled together myself. So let's have a look. This is a Tilda that I bought from Thorpe & Co recently at Boolaroo. This is not one of my colours. I don't often go for this sort of colour, but I love it. I want to buy meters of this one and the blue and make myself some blouses. If I had the money, I would do that. I absolutely love it. So I've put the wadding on there ready to be quilted. I don't know how I'm going to quilt that yet. Obviously I'm thinking maybe using this mat as a lining. This one. Then I've got a piece of wool felt that I got from Thorpe's. Bloody Great Dane glitter, it's popping up everywhere. So it's a really good match for that. Look at that. It's not in the sunlight anymore. I've got this vintage hanky from my collection. I was going through my vintage hanky collection recently. Now I think the oldest ones I've got probably go back to the 1920s, so they're not as old as some of you have. This one's from the late 80s, early 90s, because I remember buying, these were only bought recently at an op shop, but I remember having the exact same patterns when I was at school, in primary school. So they're from the 80s, I think, that one. So I've got that hanky, might use that in there because it works. I think this has to go in there. Look at this. It's beautiful. I've been hanging on to this for a while. I think she'll probably have to turn around this way as a page in this big book. Then I've got this. This is another hanky, but it really works in here. It's got the crinoline lady. So I haven't worked out how I'm going to put that in yet. There's another one that I want to put in there. Then I've also got, and again, a lot of this, I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but this is what I've pulled together for this needle book. Sandwich tray cloth. This is what I bought from my cousin's shop at Former Glory Emporium at West Wall's End. There's that one. So again, don't know if I'm going to use that as a page. If I do, it's most likely I will line it with something, or whether I'll just have it as a feature on a page. Then I've got this napkin that I think will work in here as well. This applique napkin. I've pulled some threads from my stash that work with it. Got those guys. A bit more of that fabric. I can make a pouch or a page or something. This is something I started years ago. I found when I'm cleaning up recently, and this is designed to be stitched this way, like this. So all these points come in, I can't remember what they're called, to the centre and get stitched down. They'll get stitched down if I can keep them there. And then once they're stitched into the centre there, these edges get rolled out. I think it's called Cathedral Window and stitched down. So I thought the colours work. I thought I could use that as a piece in here somehow. And then this is a piece from, don't know if this is a Mum and Son. It's a piece from a scrap pack from Beckett So Be that works in there. And then I've pulled a couple of zippers that I can use to make a pouch. That one won't be doing much, that's only 2 inches. So potentially I could make a little pouch with, I don't know, something in there. And then I've got this, that's only a 4-inch one too. So there's not going to be much happening as far as the zippers go unless I can find something else. And I did go through my, don't know if I mentioned my zippers. Last year, it must have been the year before, I made some zippered pouches for a shop up the bay. I've got to make some more for it actually. It's, I can see it in my mind. I can't remember what it's called. You know, Hampton style, seaside, lots of white, pale blue, that sort of stuff. So I made some things for her. Looking back now, I'm not overly happy with, I mean, I did a really good job at the time, but I've worked out ways to make them neater and better. So I was buying zippers to do those pouches, and I was mainly only buying from the second-hand shop to put in those pouches. And I'd go there and say, I need one for this, I need this colour, I need this. And I'd get what I needed, and if there was something else there that I thought might work, I'd pick it up. Thought I had a collection of maybe 10. Since I've been destashing in the last few weeks, I've come across some that I've had stashed away for years. And look, I remember getting them, but I thought I must have used most of them. And they came from my nan's place. My aunt and uncle used to own a haberdashery store many years ago in Shortland. I don't remember it was before my time. But when they closed that store, my nan, who was a dressmaker, ended up with most of the excess stock, and that included these zippers. So I found some more of them, not last week, the week before, put them in my zipper box, and I now have over 100 zippers. Unfortunately, a lot of them are 2 inches. Oh, that's 22, maybe. It's 22. 12? It's 55 centimetres. Anyway, 22 inches. I've got a lot more zippers than I thought I had. I'd like a lot more neon ones. I'd buy 1 or 2 every now and then when I go into Beck's. I didn't last time. This is another doily. This is one my daughter sent recently as a Duchess set, but the big one is really damaged. So I thought that might go in this needlebook as well. So there's another one. And again, I know I've shown you guys these, but as I'm talking through them with you again, it's giving me more ideas on how to structure these needlebooks. And I apologise if me going over them again is boring you. I don't mean to bore you. I'm having people pop in. I'm seeing them. They have a look. Oh, I don't want to look at that. And then they're nicking off again, which I find weird because normally when I do these videos, I have heaps of people on. That's not happening today. Okay, I've got 2 more here in front of me that I've pulled together. I might do that one last. I'll show you this one next. This one came about. I had I don't know what you'd call it. I thought it was just a decoration for a wine bottle from the 70s that you'd take, you know, you'd go to someone's house for dinner or for a dinner party or something like that, and you'd often used to take a bottle of wine in the 70s. So I thought this was from that. When I googled it, it's actually much older. It's more like 1930s apparently. So I've had this for years. It's been in my stash for years, and I vaguely remember buying it from, might have been from the little Sally's shop that used to be at Boolaroo that hasn't been there for years. I vaguely remember buying this, and I do remember buying it thinking I'd either put it on one of the teddy bears I was making, which was quite unrealistic because I'd never made teddy bears that big, or I always thought I'd use it in a project. So I found it again recently. Again, my research is telling me it's more like 1930s. So from that, last time I went into Sobeys to buy something for my daughter, I found this fabric, which I bought for my daughter, but I kept a piece for myself because vintage fabric from Beck, and look how well. Here's me thinking this was 70s, this apron. So I've been focusing on buying sort of 70s era for this, to construct this, but I think it still works. And I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm going to integrate this into this needle book somehow. This is going to be a bigger one. I'm not overly keen on that shape yet. I might need to cut a little bit off the length. It's just out of proportion for me. So I've got this piece of vintage lace in it. I think from memory this was a piece from my grandmother's. Again, she used to be a dressmaker. There is a pink stain on it. I don't know, some of my vintage stuff has been showing up with pink on them. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it came from. So I've cut that to fit in there. I'm not going to use this as a liner. It's not going to line this page, but I'm thinking I will put a binding around it. That one would probably look good in there too. I don't have enough to do two of them. So there's that fabric. That I don't have a lot pulled together for this one yet. These are fabrics I dyed a few years ago, but this is all I have left in it. I thought they might, I'm not convinced they work. They might work in here, but this is all I've got. So potentially that could even become a zippered pouch, the front and the back. And then I've pulled this. This is what I was going to make the pouch out of, actually. I've pulled this to put in there somehow. That works. I might have to go all like that for the pouch. Okay. And I've also got this, which I'm still undecided whether I'm going to put this in here or not. If I do, I'll probably remove the purple ones and just have those as a page. Or I could go vice versa. No, I think it needs to stay those ones. I've also got, this came from Thorpe's, and I sent half of this to my daughter because they only had one piece left. So that's a pure wool felt that can go in there. And this came from Sobeys when I bought this piece of fabric. So I bought one of these for my daughter as well. I've got this piece of neon. I've got a green neon thread too that could potentially go in there. And I've got a little bit more of this left over. So again, not sure how I'm going to do this yet. I think I need more for this needle book before I get started. I need more fabrics or something. I haven't come across any yet that I think will work. I've actually got a pair of, I found last night, a pair of white linen trousers, 3/4, like they're summer ones. They came from Canada. They're an absolutely beautiful quality pair of pants that a friend gave me years ago. I've never worn them. I can't wear white. How can I say this politically correct? I want to say I'm a tomboy. I don't mind getting out in the dirt. I'm not careful. I mean, I'm careful, but I'm not one of those people that can wear white and not get filthy. I'm not a person that can wear lace without tearing the crap out of it. So I'm starting to think I might recycle these or upcycle these beautiful linen pants into some projects. The linen is an absolutely gorgeous quality, and I know it will sew up. It will be really nice. So I could potentially use some of that in here, I think. I should do that now while I'm thinking of it. So there's that needle book so far. That's what I've got for that. I need to get these started. I need to get them finished, for goodness sake. Now I've got one last one here. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I thought I had 9 of them. That's only 5. I'm going to have to double check downstairs. And then I've got this one that I've pulled together so far. I should do this on the table because I'm dropping bits. Right. This is another one I've pulled together. The cover is this Tilda that I got from Thorpe & Co. This is the one I want to make myself a blouse out of. I absolutely love it. At this point in time, I can't afford to pay for the 3 meters I need to make myself a massive blouse because I'm that big. I need a tent to wear. I really want to go. It's going to cost me about $100 just for the fabric. I really want to get that. I mean, which is quite reasonable, really. So that's the cover. I have started quilting it, hand quilting it. You can see a little bit here. And again, I'm doing those raised stitches that I like the texture of. That's quite textured. I like that. I'm using a perlite cotton to do that. Done more than I thought I had. Let's start from the beginning, shall we? Let's turn her over. Okay. So here she is in all her glory that I'm starting to quilt. This one's an odd shape too. I've made them a bit too long. I don't like the proportions. Okay, so I've started to quilt her. I don't know what I'm going to applique on the front. I'd like to put something on. I don't think I want to deconstruct that doily just for the applique. Let's look at this mat. So I thought this would work. I think I was going to use that for the zippered pouch, but potentially I could applique one of those on there. How good would that look? Woohoo! There's an idea. There's that. We open her up. Don't know what I'm going to line it with yet, but I've got a piece of pink felt that I got from Thorpe & Co. Wool felt, again with bloody Great Dane glitter on it. I've got this piece, this doily. Look at that. That's stunning, isn't it? Half of that could potentially be a page, couldn't it? You can't even see it. I apologise. Look at that. Then I've got this. It might be a bit chunky. I've got this beautiful bit of wool blanket that will work in there. There's a mark on there. I need to get another bit. So I've got this wool blanket. I've got this beautiful doily. I've got this beautiful, this will work in here. Maybe that's what, I think that's what I was going to do the pouch out of, the zippered pouch, that one. Then I've got too many doilies for this piece. I've got this beautiful doily, that could be a page. With those bits of lace poking out. That would be sweet. I've got this little doily. I don't know if I'll use them all, obviously. That could potentially become a pocket. That could be a pocket, potentially. And I've got this sweet little one. Look at that. I think that one probably needs to go in. I've got some more puffs. Again, might be a bit too big to fit in here, but we'll fix that. These are from Beck's as well. I want to get more of these. I love these vintage 20s and 30s feed sacks. this has been salvaged from a tablecloth, so I'm thinking I might use this as the edge around it. It's got some scallops in it though, so it's going to take a bit of, you just manipulate it so it will go around. You can use the corners in the corners, you know, just manipulate the fabric. It works. So that's another idea. I've pulled one thread so far that matches, and I've got another couple of little bits of this left that can go into it. And I've pulled a zipper. It's an 18-inch, so that could be used for the zippered pouch that I want to put in there. So that's that. That's where I'm up to. In between getting all these textiles together that are going out, that's pretty much all I've achieved. I have been working on the denim jacket in between. I try and do some stitching when I go to bed at night and I'm trying to wind down to get to sleep. I try and do some stitching. However, the last week I've been falling asleep before I can get anything done. I wake up holding the stitcher in my hand and I haven't done a bloody thing. Got to put that back in that pouch so I know where it is. So once I get all these, this last drop sorted, hopefully I can sit down for a few days and do a bit of this in between, catching up with my garden work and my housework and all that sort of stuff as well. No idea how I'm going to fit it all in. Okay, so here's the jacket I've been working on. This is a vintage jacket. I'm going to sell this because it's only a size 18. It's not in my size. So if you're a size 18 and you'd like a vintage jacket that's been worked. So this is a bit I've done on the front above the pocket. I saw Cassia Avery, and I apologise if I've pronounced your name incorrectly. While her and her husband were in New Zealand on their trip, their motorhome trip, she was doing a blouse and she showed some feather stitch she did on it. So I've done some of that feather stitch along here. I'm going to match it on the other side. Have I done the other side yet? Oh, I've done it. So I'm going to match it on the other side. The feather stitch. I've done it around the collar. I still can't decide whether I'm going to do it around the pocket and around the cuff, but I've had another idea to put some crochet panels around the cuff, so it might be too much to have those. I'll show you those. I've got them here, I believe. So I was going to put these around the cuff like that. I suppose I could potentially still do feather stitch either side. It's also going to depend on how much of this cotton I've got, because it's a vintage cotton and I've only got the one ball. So it may just be this around the cuff. I'm tossing up whether to do, I think I'd like to do some on the pocket. That's the front pockets. I've got to do some, there are some holes in the jacket. So I want to make a feature out of those. I can't find them now. There's a couple of holes in it. They're only small holes. So, okay, that's the plan so far. And then I'm working the back as well. So this is the back so far. And I've done that feather stitch across that what's that? There's a placket. I can't remember that bit at the top there, the name of it. So I've done that feather stitch along there. I've changed the direction so it meets in nice consistency, coming in together to meet in the centre. Just tossing up whether to put something there at that centre as a bit of a feature or just leave it as it is. So this is the back so far. Those lines will go. They're just my guidelines for my running stitch. I've stitched on this vintage cross stitch. It looks silly on its own, so I've decided to do some layers around it. I've done some needle weaving where it was pulling away. I'm not sure I like that colour now. I used a nice vintage ecru that I thought inside it matched better. But then, should I just leave it there and make a feature out of it, add a bit of pink and sort of blend it all in? I might do that. So yeah, working on this. I don't have much to go here. I might add more patches yet, I'm not sure. Yeah, so I don't think I'll do the feather stitch around the waistband because I think it'll be too much for the eye. Yeah, this is what I've mainly been working on because this will be, as I said, this will be sold. I'm not keeping it. I didn't like the tag at the back of the neck. That bugs the crap out of me. So I've relocated the size tag in here, in the breast, on the, in here. So I've relocated the size tag here, so at least you know what size it is. Didn't have a brand on it. It's just an old vintage jacket I've had for years that I used to wear. And obviously it's been quite some time since I've worn it because it's been a few years since I've been a size 18. I'm trying to find, I don't think I've repaired those holes yet. So I have drawn a guideline on the pocket to start doing that feather stitch. Where are those holes? I want to make a feature out of them. Here's one. It's on the cuff. So we might not even see that by the time I put that crochet bit on there. I thought there was another one. I don't know, guys. Oh, there's a tiny one down here. I want to do something with that. I certainly just don't want to sell it with bloody holes in it and people going, oh, this thing's got holes in it. I mean, it is vintage, clearly, obviously, and you're going to expect that, aren't you? The rest of it's in good condition. It hasn't thinned anywhere. It hasn't, it's just a really nicely worn in denim jacket, or as the Americans call it, I think a jean jacket, which I only recently found out. I'm just trimming off a thread that's hanging that looks a bit untidy. I thought there was another small hole. I found those two. I should tie a bit of thread there, shouldn't I, so I can find them easily. Yeah, I should do that. When I'm stitching, when I'm doing the running stitch, oh, there's a hole. I might be just seeing the same hole repeatedly, possibly. So that's what I've been working on in between getting these textiles prepared and ready to send off. How naughty am I? I always tell everyone when I'm teaching, I always say when your working thread should not be any longer than from your hand to your elbow. That stops it fatiguing and it stops it tangling. This one is probably 4 times that length because I get lazy and I don't like to have knots in my work, so I try and I keep waxing it and I try and keep, longer working threads. So that's what I've been up to, guys. Hopefully someone will fall in love with this jacket and want to buy it. If you're here, if you see this and you want to buy it before I list it, just comment or send me a message or something. It will most likely be listed on my Made It page. My poor Made It page has been a bit neglected lately. I haven't been making enough time to work on it, to work on products. So most of the things I had in there have sold, and I need to make some more. So I'm not sure yet. This is most likely be listed for, I don't know, 150, 170, something like that. There's a lot of work going into it. There's a lot of vintage textiles I've collected that are going into it. Obviously that one's not. That's an old Tilda. I love that. If anyone's got any more of that Tilda from the, about 15, not quite 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. If anyone's got any more of that they would be interested in selling to me, hit me up because I love it. It's one of my favourite fabrics. I've got about this much left. And yeah, if anyone has any of that, please let me know. I would love to buy it from you if you don't want it. Yeah, so like I said, if you're seeing this and you think you love this jacket, and I mean, it's going to look a heck of a lot better once I get all these pen lines off it. I didn't want to dissolve them yet until I've finished stitching, obviously. So with these, the holes in it, especially like this one down near the band, what I'm thinking, and I don't know, I might get there and set it up and think, oh my god, that looks horrendous. So what I'm thinking is doing some needle weaving over it and potentially making a little crocheted flower to applique near it, to make a feature out of it. Maybe a couple of little bits, just little bits of the fabrics I've already used. I don't want a big honking bit, I don't think. It's just something little. On the cuff, it may be completely covered with that crocheted insert that I want to add. So I might not have to worry about that there. If it's gone all the way through, I'll do some needle weaving on the other side. Let's have a look. Oh, not really, that's the other side of it. So yeah, that's what I'm up to, guys. Like I said, if you think you love this jacket and you want to buy it before I list it, let me know. As I said, I still haven't worked out a price for it. I don't think it will be any cheaper than 150 Australian. It's a size 18. Yeah, let me know what you think. But it's getting late. I'm losing sun. I was complaining earlier in the day because my phone was overheating and kept shutting down with the sun on it. And that was quite frustrating because it's the middle of winter and it hadn't happened to me during the summer. I don't think I actually had this phone. This is a second-hand phone of my son's. I don't think it's in much better condition than my phone that died on me the day before Willow's surgery. My phone died, so I was quite distressed, and my son was kind enough to come over and give me one of his old iPhones, but it's very old. The back of it was smashed. It's a very basic one. I mean, it does what I need it to, but it's worn out. It shuts down, it overheats, it does some weird stuff to me. So I really need to try and get a new phone. I've been banging on about it for 12 months. I think I've been asking for people to sponsor a new phone for me or contribute towards one. But then we ended up having Willow's surgery and she got really ill, so I ended up asking people to donate to her vet fees. I had one beautiful person donate some, which went straight off that bill, but I'm still paying it off. And although to some of you it might not be a lot of money each fortnight, it means I can't get a new phone. Some fortnights it means I can't even pay the bills or put food on the table, not just because of that, just because the cost of living's gone through the roof. I saw on Facebook this morning one of my friends had stated that she went to pay her house insurance maybe yesterday, and it had increased nearly by 3 or 4 times what it was last year. Like, it's thousands of dollars just to pay for her house insurance, and I can't remember if that was including contents or separate or just the contents. I mean, I know she was flabbergasted, I was flabbergasted. Wow. I asked Mum this morning if hers has gone up, and she's like, I don't know, I haven't looked yet. I said, well, if it's gone up as much as hers, if it goes as a percentage, you guys might be in a bit of trouble. So it's gotten to the point where, I think I've mentioned it before, I can't afford to even run a car anymore, let alone pay for servicing and maintenance on it. So my mother and I share a car, It stays with her because she paid for it. But most of the time, if I need a car, I can use hers. It's never available on Saturdays because she goes to visit her sister every Saturday. They make a day out of it, or the sisters gather. Um, so yeah, things are getting tough, guys. Hopefully our government stands up to these changes that they want to tax our medications. That could be disastrous for us, for so many people. It's just crazy. I try not to pay any attention to the current events because I get too distressed, like a lot of you do. I do see some people follow closely every day, and then they're talking about how they can't cope, their mental health's been affected, and that's one reason I stopped many years ago. One of my dear friends, AJ, hi AJ, you probably won't be watching because you've got better things to do, I know that. In a nice way, I'm not being judgy or anything. A dear friend of mine, AJ, once told me many years ago to stop looking at the news, to get rid of my TV, to not listen on the radio, and I said to her, I can't do that. She's like, why not? I said, because I need to know what's going on. And she's like, why? Why do you need to know? I said, well, what if something important happens? She said, well, you'll find out. I'm like, I can't. And I resisted for another couple of years. But in the back of my head, I kept thinking about her saying, don't watch it, don't listen to it, get rid of it out of your life. If it's affecting you, get rid of it. You don't need that stress. You don't need that crap. You know, what goes in comes out. You know what I mean? Like, so I got to a point where I became really unwell and I didn't know what to do. And I eventually remembered what AJ had said about, you know, what goes in comes out and how much it affects us. And, you know, we had a good talk about it. And I'd also spoken to Charlotta about it. Sorry, I can't remember your surname right now. I spoke with Charlotta about it a couple of times as well. And I finally decided to get rid of I got rid of my TV. I gave my, since COVID, or just before COVID, the only time I was using my TV, which wasn't actually my TV, it was gifted to me as well. The only time it was being used in this house in the last 5 or 6 years was playing nature videos on YouTube for Willow, because she loved watching the squirrels and the birds and whatnot on TV. And, in many ways I should have kept it for her, because it was very good for her. It would calm her down and settle her. She'd sit there for hours watching the birds on the TV. Or it was used to play games. Farming Simulator was one of them. But I realised that I didn't need it. Willow and I didn't need it. That was all we were using it for. My dad needed a TV. His TV stopped working, and I knew he couldn't afford to go out and buy a new TV, so our TV went to Dad. This TV that I gave him was less than 2 years old because we ended up with a new one. And since the other half is no longer here, he's the one that used it primarily. It went to Dad. I don't miss it at all. I don't think about it until someone says, don't you have a TV? No. Or someone will say, did you hear on the news or did you see on it? No, don't watch the news. Oh, why not? Well, because I don't need to. If I need to know something, I'll find out. I get told. Or I'll open social media and it'll pop up. So, or I can go looking for myself. I can control what I see and what comes in. And it's one of the best things I've ever done, guys. If you're having if you're struggling with what's going on in the world, and I know a lot of people are going to say it's incredibly selfish and arrogant, but I need to do this for my own mental health. So I've learned over the years, if I don't put myself first, I can't help and support anyone else. And I can't look after my dog. So that's one of the things I do for my own health. And yeah, it can be very selfish and arrogant, but if I want to be not normal, there's no such thing as normal, is there? If I want to be a functional human being, that's one of the things I have to do. So if you're struggling at the moment, I mean, I got to the point where not only if I'd turn the news on or the TV on and some news story came on, I would either get so angry I thought I was going to explode, or I couldn't stop crying, and I would get so distraught and so sad and so distressed, and all I could do was focus on how bad the world is and all these horrible things. So I had to cut it out of my life. I had to, and it got to the point where I was crying randomly, like things would trigger me that wouldn't even think would trigger you. I'd be driving the car and burst into tears, and I'd be sobbing, not just having a little cry. I would be sobbing to the point where I'd have to pull over. So yeah, I've removed that from my life. Maybe that's something you can consider if you're having a tough time, because things are really crook at the moment. What else did I want to talk about? We'll go away from that because it's a bit morbid, I suppose. As I mentioned, if you think you love this jacket, before I'm finished it, let me know, and it could potentially be yours. As I said, I don't think it'll be any less than $150 Australian, maybe a bit more, maybe as much as 180, maybe even a little bit more than that. I haven't decided yet. I have to work out how much work's going into it and how much vintage textiles are going into it and things like that. There's something else I wanted to talk about. I wanted to thank, I don't think I've got it into this video because the videos kept bloody turning off. Those of you, the last video I did that worked, that I uploaded, I sent out a request for anyone to donate any quilting fabrics to one of the ladies I'm in the fire brigade with. Makes quilts. She hand makes the quilts. Her and some other ladies make quilts, and they were donating them to homeless people. They were gifting them, and I thought that was a great idea. And then in the time that she told me about it, I told her I would go and look for if I had any, and yeah, I know I've got some I can give her. I've actually put together 2 boxes now, and I'm still going. I think I'm nearly done. I told her I would get some together for her, and then it dawned on me that I didn't have as many fabrics left as I thought I did. I've given a lot away. I've sold some. I used to work in a quilt store, so I had a nice collection of them. So when it dawned on me that I didn't have as many fabrics as I thought I had that I could gift her, I put the call out on here and on Instagram to ask if anybody else had any that they would like to donate. Now, I've had a couple of people send some already, and I want to thank you so very much. Kim's one of them. Thank you so much, Kim. And I apologise at the moment, I can't remember the other lady's name, but I will get those details and put them up. I might just say your first names because I'm sure you don't want me to expose you for some people don't like everyone else to know, and that's okay, I understand that. But I will be telling the quilting ladies who donated them because I think that's important. And I know the people that donate the fabrics don't want the accolades, but that's not the point. I just want them acknowledged, you know, and I know that other ladies will want to acknowledge it as well. So, yeah, I put the call out. If anyone has any quilting fabrics they no longer want that they may like to donate to this program, it's just a group of ladies that are doing it. As I said, they've been donating their quilts to the homeless, or not donating, gifting them. And in the time that I had first spoken to Helen about it, she informed me that they had been invited to start donating their quilts to Carrie's Place, which is an organisation, a local organisation here. I don't know how far they stretch, but I know they're local because I've volunteered with them through another organisation I've worked with years ago, Got Your Back Sister. I think that friend AJ I was telling you about, I think she's on the board of directors for Got Your Back Sister from memory. And that's how I originally found out about them when they first started, when Mel first kicked it off. AJ invited me to some of their events and I went along for years. But since COVID, I haven't been able to. So I'm still looking for ways that I can help the community. And even though I didn't have the fabrics that I thought I had, and even though I'm not able to physically get there and help very often, I've worked out other ways I can contribute. And if that just means reaching out and asking any of you guys if you have any quilting fabrics you can donate, that's another way I can help and you can help. So yeah, they're now making them for Carrie's Place as well. And as I said, I've had a couple of you donate some fabrics, which is amazing and phenomenal. And at this point in time, these ladies don't know these fabrics have been donated. They haven't seen the ones that I've got. Last time I saw Helen, which was about 3 weeks ago now, I had said to her, look, I've got some quilting fabrics for you, because it was the week before that we discussed it. I said, I've got some fabrics for you. I've started pulling them together, but I've realised I've got a little bit more than I originally thought, but not as many as I told you that I thought I had, if that makes sense. So at this stage, Helen only thinks she's getting a box from me. In the meantime, I've reached out to you guys to ask if anyone can donate any, because Helen had said to me they've got nothing left. They did have some fabrics that had been donated quite some time ago. They're completely out. The ladies who are doing the quilts have pretty well exhausted their funds and their stashes, their personal funds and stashes. None of them are in a position to buy the fabrics anymore. I mean, you know, they might buy one here and there every now and then if they see it on special or something, but none of them are in a position anymore to go out and buy fabrics to make a quilt. Because if you don't know how much it costs to make a quilt, when I was working in the quilting industry, like this would be 10, 15 years ago maybe, 12, 15 years ago, a quilt, by the time you buy the fabrics, and I reckon this has probably at least doubled in that time, at least the cost. I haven't calculated the cost of making a quilt recently, but to make a quilt to put on a double bed, let's say, and it doesn't spill too much over the sides, by the time you bought the fabrics, the cotton to sew it up, the wadding, if you quilted it yourself or if you had it quilted, it would cost you more. So I used to do the quilting on the Gamel for the shop, under the tutelage of Miss Fifi and Leanne Harvey of Mount Vincent Quilts. They both taught me how to use a Gamel and how to quilt and how to make quilts. So by the time you pay for that, and the wadding, the quilting, the stitching, the fabrics, you're easily looking at, the one I made for my son cost me over $700. And that was not even a double bed. It wasn't quite, it was more than a single, but not quite a double. That was just the fabrics. I quilted it myself. The wadding, the backing, that's what I'm forgetting, the backing, the binding, all that sort of stuff. It cost me about $770, I think, at the time. So you're probably looking at least double that now, and it depends on what size quilt you make. It depends on, you know, there's a lot of variables, what type of wadding you use, if you hand quilt it, if you do it yourself on a machine at home, if you have it quilted, you know, there's a lot of variables. But I reckon you could easily say $500 to $700 for a basic quilt, the cost. So that's why I've decided to reach out to you guys, ask if anyone has any quilting fabrics, any cottons, good quality sewing cottons that they don't want that they could send off for these ladies. You know, cottons to use on the machine to sew up the quilts, any top stitch that could be used to do the quilting, if you have any of that you don't want that you could pass on. Any wadding that's large enough for a quilt, probably from a cot size upwards, maybe a bit bigger than a cot size. If you have anything to make a quilt that you think would be of value. I mean, we don't want scraps, obviously, but in saying that, these ladies have said that they're happy to take anything, any small squares they can piece together, anything that's already been pre-cut, anything, if you've started to make one and you've got a pile of squares that you haven't finished, for example, they're happy to take those to put them together. I've actually dug out a couple of quilting panels that they can use. So if you've got anything like that that you think you might be able to donate, or that you'd like to donate to this group of ladies that are making these quilts, let me know. I think I've put my delivery address up on the last one that you can send them to. I'll put it up on this one. Don't like leaving my address out there, but it's been easier than trying to answer all your messages because I often miss them. I don't get notified. So yeah, if you think, and the other thing is Helen, we think Helen's away at the moment. She had mentioned to me last time I spoke to her that if she disappears suddenly, she's had to fly home to England because her dad was very unwell. We can't find Helen. She's not responding to my messages, so we're assuming that's what's happened. So if anything arrives in the next couple of weeks, it may not be delivered to Helen yet. I don't have her phone number. I can contact her a couple of other ways, but another lady that I know lives near her and she has her contact details, and she's tried to contact her as well. We know she'll be back. I know that these fabrics will get to her, but I just want to let you know, if you do send some, it may be a couple of weeks before Helen's home and settled back in, and I'm guessing that she may need a bit of space to grieve as well. So yeah, I've got all those. I've got the two donations here as well as mine at the moment. I did take them down to the meeting on Tuesday night to give to her, but she didn't turn up, and that's when I started getting a bit worried. But yeah, we're pretty sure she's back in England at the moment. There's no one at her home, apparently, so we think they've just had to fly back. It looks like she hasn't been going to work either, so yeah, she's not here. When she comes home, I'll have these things for her. I know it will be a very big surprise for her because she's not expecting this much. She's just expecting a bag from me. But I also know how desperately they need the fabrics and the materials. Helen explained to me that there's a group of ladies that have been making these quilts. They have the time, they have the expertise, but they've run out of materials. So I thought if we could all band together and get some stuff together to donate to these ladies to get these quilts made. Helen was telling me she's made hundreds just on her own, and most of those have been donated, and she said ideally they would like to have some made that are sitting in at this place in the storage room, that when they have a request they can just go in and go bang, 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 and hand them over to the charity that need them. So yeah, I thought if we can all band together to help out with that, that would be great. So if you think if you think you have, the only other thing is if you make this donation, I need to ask you to be prepared to pay postage. You need to be able to post it to me if you don't live locally. I can't pay for postage and Helen can't pay for postage. We just don't have the money. Like I said, we've had 2 amazingly generous donations so far that are mind-blowing, and I'm so grateful. And I know Helen will be too, and I know the ladies will be. Excuse me, I've got the hiccups. So if I can, I was thinking if I can have a heap that I can just hand over to these ladies, I know they're going to be beside themselves, and I know it will keep them busy for some time to come, and I know that they will get those quilts up and ready for these people, these organisations, as soon as possible. I know that. And I'm hoping, I haven't spoken to Helen about it yet, because I haven't seen her, but my plan is I'd like to be able to record Helen receiving these gifts. I will ask her permission to do that. Obviously, if I ask her permission, she's going to know something. I just thought I'd say I've got something for you. You need to come and have a look in my car or something, and I'm hoping she'll be... And, you know, she's going to know there's some quilt fabrics, but she's not going to have any idea how much there is. There's already a bit here, which is great. And then I want to ask her if I can record the group of ladies either receiving the materials or at least making, because I want you guys to see where it's going. I want you to see that it's been used the right way. So hopefully we'll be given permission to get some inside information, inside footage of that happening. Yeah, I think that's about it, guys. Again, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you for your support. Thank you so much to everyone who has sent and is sending materials for the quilts. Honestly, I don't know how to put into words how grateful I am, and I know the ladies will be as well. I know they will. They're going to be ecstatic, I know. Yeah, and just a silly little thing, if any of you have any of this old Tilda, this grey with the floral, if you have any of that you'd like to sell, let me know. I'd love to buy some more. I've only got about this much left, and it's one of my favourite fabrics. I use it all the time. I've had it for years. If any of you have any you'd like to part with, let me know. I'd love to buy it. So thankfully we got through this video. This is about the 5th or 6th live I've done today because the phone kept overheating and shutting down. Goodness gracious, that cockatoo screamed right in my ear hole then. Flying overhead, the noisy beggars. I've lost my train of thought. Hopefully what I've done on this video makes sense, because I lost track of what I'd had said and what I'd lost and what not. I know this hasn't been very exciting. I haven't really done anything new. That's because I've been focusing on de-stashing my house and trying to keep my body functioning, and also helping Willow with her recovery as well from her massive surgery. So anyway, thank you guys again. I'm going to get going. Every time I do these thank you, goodbye, I'm going, it takes me for ages to wind up. For ages. My goodness, that's good proper English, isn't it? It takes me forever, or a long time, to wind up. Crikey. So there's a lot of activity going on around me now. People are coming home from their day out. It's a Saturday. There's a lot of traffic and movement. So I'm going to go. I've got to pack all this up, take it inside, and finish doing these parcels. So thank you all again. Did I show you guys? I can hear my ex-husband. He just started his car. He lives down the back, not in my yard. He lives a different road away, but I can hear his car. That's my kid's dad. Look at this. When I took Mum to do some errands on Tuesday that I wasn't expecting, one of the things we did, I can hear him driving off. one of the things we did, it's funny because we've recently started talking again after nearly 30 years. I couldn't talk to him. I wanted to throttle him. We've recently started communicating again for the kids' sake, even though they're adults. And sometimes I'll say to him, "Where'd you go today?" "Oh, I went down the street." There's myself. "Oh, how do you know?" "Because I hear your car come and go." Or I got him to take our son home a few weeks ago from here. Him and I had had a couple of drinks, my son, and I didn't want him driving, so I rang his father and said, "Look, can you please take him home? I don't want him driving." So off they went. I said to him the next day, "I know you didn't get home till 1:30 this morning." He's like, "How do you know that?" "I can hear your car. It's like a bloody, I don't know what." But anyway, had to go and do some errands on Tuesday that were not planned. It took me all day. One of the things I had to do was go to Bunnings to pick up some dog food for Willow. And I've been a bit sad because in previous years I've had flowers in my garden this time of year. I've been neglecting my poor garden because of after I had that fall 12 months ago, I haven't been physically able to maintain everything. But anyway, my poor garden's been neglected. When I walked in to get the dog food, they've got potted colour all along. And this was a little $2. I had to get it. Look at the colour of it. Look at that. It looks quite purple on this screen through the monitor. But in the daylight, they look black. Oh, stop jiggling so much. Aren't they stunning? Years ago I said I only wanted black flowers in my garden. They had a black daisy there the other day as well. I didn't buy it because it was $10, and that's $10 that could be used on something else that's actually important. I mean, these are important too for my health. I convinced myself. Last year I came out, with the last few years, I used to come out of a morning and sit and look at all my pretty flowers this time of year. My rosemary's got some beautiful flowers on it this year. Last year I only got one or two. It's covered in them this year. And I have a cranberry hibiscus my neighbours gave me. It's been flowering. It's got one or two little flowers on it. And my nasturtiums are flowering. I should get some more in, and I need to repot my citrus and my poor apple tree and all that. Anyway, as I said, I've been focusing on destashing and getting all these things out of this house. I need to get stuff out. So that's been my priority. Everything else has been neglected. So I'm currently trying to work on I don't know what you'd call it, I don't know what you call it, my brain's gone empty. A plan to make sure, it's just a diary, I can't remember what it's called, my goodness. Making sure that I spend some time in the garden each week, making sure, I spend this much time to do the destashing, this much time to do the linens, making sure I've put time aside for Willow. When I get focused on one task, that's all I can do. I get so focused on it. So I need to make myself plan it. I need a planner, maybe that's the word. So I've started working on that. I've just had a magpie land just behind me. Oh, oh, wow. That hurts. Sorry, guys. Wow. That really hurt. I just shifted on this stool and it feels like I've got things that I've dropped on the ground here under me, I've just noticed. When I lifted myself off this stool then, it felt like I actually tore the skin off my leg. I didn't, because I got pants on. But my gosh, that hurt. I'm trying to turn around to look at the magpie. Anyway, still prattling on. I need to go. And now that this happens every time. Every time I start to end the live, everyone starts to turn up. Isn't that funny? I don't know whether to dig something out and do some stitching again or just go. I think I need to go because the sun's disappearing. I'm losing light. It's getting cold. It won't be long before the mosquitoes are out. And I have to go and get all this other work done because people are going to expect their mail. I was hoping to have all the parcels in the mail by Wednesday. And then I said it would be Thursday. and then it was Friday, and I still haven't got them done because, as I said earlier, I'm such a perfectionist. I'm washing some of the linens again, I'm soaking some again, everything's getting pressed again. Most of the linens and the vintage stuff gets wrapped in archival tissue paper for postage. So acid-free tissue paper. Willow's just asking me, she's wanting something, she's pressing buttons. I try and outside, she wants to come back outside. So I've been trying to, and this is a work in progress, so as I go along, my methods are changing and the way I wrap it is changing. I'm trying to make improvements as I go. So I heard you, sweetheart, just let me finish here, okay? Soon. So my methods are changing. At the moment, I've noticed yesterday that some of the linens don't look as clean as they can be, and they've been washed, but I'm soaking some again, try and get some more stains out before I send them off to you, because I only want you to get the best of the best, you know. Obviously some of them are worn, they've got hulls, they've got age damage, which is what people are after. It's one of the ways it proves that it's vintage, but I just want to make sure they're as clean as I can get them. I want to make sure they smell good. I get so many messages saying, I open this parcel and it smells amazing, and it's just what I clean with. It's nothing special. It's just the products I use, things that I like the smell of. So I sort of think if I like them, most of you are going to like them. Obviously it might upset some people. Some people can't tolerate perfumes. If that's you, you need to, and I'm sending something to you, you need to let me know so I can make a note of that. So yeah, the process now is make sure everything's as clean as I can get it. If it needs to be cleaned, I press everything before I send it. I try and fold it nicely. I wrap it in archival tissue paper when I can, and then it gets wrapped in a decorative one, and I put decorations on it. I try to make or add a little gift in everything. I don't know what it will be. It changes every time. It's just whatever I've got or whatever I can come up with. I'm not buying things. I'm trying to use what I have. I'm trying to be environmentally friendly, and I'm trying to get more stuff out of my house. So I do like to try and send a thank you gift to everyone each time. But yeah, it just depends what I've got, what my time's like, how much effort I can put into everything. But at the minimum, you get a product as clean as I can get it. I make sure it's pressed nicely, folded nicely, wrapped in archival tissue paper for protection, and that takes time. It's taken me a lot longer to do than I thought it would. Even though I've been doing this for a few months now, I need to be more realistic with myself about how long it takes me to wrap these parcels. But anyway, if you are waiting on something, it is coming, guys. Most of you who've bought from me previously know you're going to get it, but just know that it's coming, and I've had to slow down a little bit because my body's rebelling. But anyway, thank you again. I know I'm prattling on. Thank you for everything. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for donating textiles for Helen and her ladies. Thank you for, you know, those of you who've helped me with Willow's vet bill. Thank you to those of you who are helping me de-stash and pay my bills. I'm so very grateful. I don't know how to explain or express how grateful I am. And with that being said, I'm going to go. Let's go, pack up, get some dinner on, and get these packages done. Thanks, guys. See you next time.